Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good grief, good will hunting, and welcome to the madness that is the Charlie Marx Show. With me, your host, Charlie Marx. This is a brand new show full of absolute silliness, stupidity, and complete nonsense. If you enjoy the show, then please like, subscribe, and follow me, but not in a creepy way when I'm shopping. You can also contact me on www.charliemarx.co.uk to find out what's going on in my mad universe and what theatre scripts and musicals I'm working on, which is probably not a lot. As much as you're trying to contain your anticipation of the show to begin, you may be wondering, who the hell are you? Well, for those of you who are unfamiliar with the man who is me, then allow me to give you some background on Charlie Marx. I was born a baby some years ago, and it turned out that as a baby I was identified by specialists in the hospital as a male baby. Thus I have the pronoun bloke. I have a university degree which allows me to perform surgeries on dead people. And you should also be aware that I am so far being away from politically correct that I'm qualified to marry Ricky Gervais, which will happen next October. I would have preferred a summer wedding, but because of religious reasons, Rick wants the wedding on Halloween so he can dress up as Jesus. I am an award-winning writer, winning second prize in Primary 2 for the growing of a fairly decent daffodil. I am, however, when not talking rubbish, a writer who writes rubbish, particularly various genres of theatre plays, musicals and books. My books are available on Amazon, the shopping site, not the jungle. So look me up by typing into Amazon Charlie Marx. So there you have it. The only time I'll be opening up my personal life unless the right money is offered. So, coming up on tonight's show, we have CM News, which provides all the fake news from around the world and beyond. We have an in-depth conversation with our special guest, which I'm very excited about as I've been a fan of his music since 3 o'clock this afternoon. Sir Percival Homosexual reads the haunting tale, Brenda's funeral, in Storytime. And finally, we'll put the world to rights with all the things that bug us in The Devil's Advocate. But before you delve into this very strange show, a word from our sponsors. Hi. Have you ever had less than one of something? If the answer is yes, then today's sponsor is right up your street, which is handy with the government's current silly fuel prices. Today's proud sponsor is nothing, and with nothing, you will no longer have anything to worry about. Annoyed by thieves? Well, be annoyed no more, because when you have nothing, these pesky varmints will see absolutely no reason to burgle you. Nothing will not only stop intruders, but when you have nothing, there's no need for insurance. Never feel embarrassed by dodgy beggars looking for your spare change. When you have nothing, you'll be less than welcome in their company than Mel Gibson at a bar mitzvah. If you order nothing today, you will be entered into our special prize draw with the chance to win this fabulous Boris the Johnson at the Wurlitzer organ. This amazing album features such classics as Screwing the Country Blues, Pandemic Party, and Bang It in the Microwave, Gas Mark IV. Each track has been remastered using a Panasonic tape recorder and a sponge. Who could forget such classics as The Kids Are All Mine and Hands Up Anyone Who's Been to a Peppa Pig World? Order nothing now. It weighs so little you can carry with you, and it's 100% invisible, so no need to be worrying about ever-changing fashions. But the most impressive part is that when you order nothing, it will be with you instantly. That's right, folks. No waiting for the postman to bring you nothing. You'll get nothing before you can say something. Get nothing, and soon everyone will be shouting from across the street that they can't believe you have nothing. Nothing will give you 0% off when you type in the code, the Charlie Marx Show / I pledge my soul to the devil because I have no friends. Nothing is available all over the world. For Spain, type nada. For Afrikaans, type nix. For Germany, type nicht. For Greece, type some symbols. And for the UK, type sod all. Nothing is only available from the Winkle Wonkle Company. And remember, nothing is free. Order nothing now, and don't forget to enter into the prize draw for the chance to win the album of Boris Johnson playing with his organ. So what are you waiting for? Order nothing today and get nothing shipped to you by no later than tomorrow. The Winkle Wonkle Company are the only company to actually give you nothing for nothing. Welcome back to the Asylum, boys and girls, and the Charlie Marx Show. Still to come on the show is CM News, our special guest, Storytime, and the Devil's Advocate. But before that lunacy, it's now time for Viewer's Letter. Today's letter comes from an emotional young lady who desperately needs my help. Dear Charlie, please can you help me? I'm a fairly young woman who desperately wants to be a celebrity. I have no talent and have recently fallen out with my husband's family. My husband Harry supports me, but I thought I would ask for your thoughts. Big kisses, Megan. Well, Megan, I feel your pain, and believe me, it's not easy to become a celebrity without enhancements, surgery, blackmail, or a coffee with Prince Andrew. But there are less distasteful ways. You could marry into celebrity, but seeing as you appear to be a bit of a drama queen who likes to stir it up and cause trouble, and you've already fallen out with your in-laws, this might not be for you. Don't feel disheartened though, as there is a company who specialises in just what you could be looking for. The Winkle Wonkle Company provides a special one-off 6-year celebrity course and guarantee that if you're not completely successful 2 years after the course ends, they will give you, free of charge, another 2 years of waiting. There is more information on the Winkle Wonkle website, and you can request your free brochure on how to sign up for this unique celebrity course. Now, you can't ask for more than that, a free brochure. So, what does this course entail? Well, Megan, I had a read at the brochure whilst on the toilet. For £99.99 a month, you could end up as famous as your favourite celebrity. That's less than a cup of coffee, if indeed you fly to Brazil for your coffee, Megan. So, what does the Winkle Wonkle Company offer as part of this exciting course? Firstly, you can do this course in the comfort of your own home, which saves in travel expenses and avoids being uncomfortable in someone else's home. Week 1, you will learn how to boost your popularity by getting involved with a member of the opposite sex, then coming out as gay, even if you're straight. Weeks 7 and 9, the course turns you into a raging alcoholic, drug-addled narcissist with a penchant for being racist to black Jewish Mexicans with a lisp. And finally, they will also teach you how to cry for absolutely no reason whatsoever, which will give you all the preparation you will ever need when attending those award ceremonies. So Megan, I hope this advice helps you become the celebrity you desire and the celebrity us normal folks love to hate. Now, ladies and gentlemen, before the terribly exciting interview with our special guest, let's find out all the latest news from the CM Newsroom. This
CM News with me, your host, Barbara Streisand. Our top story this evening: Donald Trump, the shy retiring comedian and once Prime Minister of the United States of USA, has died. His hair. The ordeal took 3 of the world's top mechanics and a wildlife animal trainer 6.5 hours to perform the surgery, but they managed to catch the beast and return it to his scalp. A-list celebrity and Strictly Come Dancing runner-up Humpty Dumpty was in hospital last night after falling off a wall. The social media star, best known for his recent divorce from one of the lesser-known Kardashians, was said to be out of danger but feeling scrambled after the accident. This occurred only weeks after the celebrity caused controversy when he was in negotiations in a $1 million deal with 2 multimedia companies, only to be poached by a third. Mr. Dumpty's son Nigel is currently starring in London's West End production of Hard Boiled at the Chicken Theatre. Reviews announced that Nigel Dumpty was shy but would be fine when he came out of his shell. A pro-trans march ended in disaster today when both Edward Smilington and Frederick Fuddmeister turned up at the rally wearing the same frock. Police had to intervene and 2 officers had to be given first aid after being hit with a handbag. The case has been submitted to the Crown and Dorothy Perkins. The woke brigade have struck again, and this time the recipient is all-round hottie and sometimes writer J.K. Rowling. Miss Rowling has recently been hounded by activists and has reportedly received as many as 3 slightly angry emails. The controversy stemmed from Miss Rowling's continual use of the inflammatory term Potter, which Miss Rowling has used in more than one of her little books. A spokesperson for the correct use of the word Potter Society told CM News, "To be a potter requires skill and clay, and you can't get that at Hogwarts." Local news now. My neighbour has put up a new fence and it's not straight. And finally, the Prime Minister, Keith Starmer, has revealed a new government grant for pensioners. Pensioners will be entitled to this annual increase of 79 pence if they meet the criteria, which includes being over the age of 87, having their own teeth and living with both parents. And that's all from CM News. Good night.
Thank you, Barbara. There will be another roundup of the news next time. And now my special guest for this evening is a rock star who needs plenty of introduction. After being fired from his band in 1986, is making a comeback with his brand new debut solo album, Who Put My Socks in the Oven? Ladies and gentlemen, Bobby Troubadour. Welcome to the show, Bobby.
Yay.
I've had a listen to your new album and I thought it was, for a debut album, very circular. What was the process in writing this album?
Well, it was just a process, really, you know.
And it's a whole new band with your grandmother on drums and your 8th wife as screaming backing vocalist. How was it working with your family on this project?
Yeah, it was interesting. Well, see, my grandmother who played the drums, well, she died. She sadly died halfway through making the album, but she was a professional. God rest her soul, but she was a professional, and she carried on making the rest of the album, which I thought was brilliant, you know. But yeah, having family in was good because, you know, it's cheaper for a start, and also, you know, it saves you going round and visiting and stuff like that, you know.
Now, I know you haven't spoken about this for many days, and it's a source of sorrow for you, but I feel your fan would want to know. You started the band The Potato Men back in 1967 with bassist Simon Potato, drummer Johnny Men and guitarist Jim Bob The. It's fair to say that your first and only album, When the Lights Go Off It's Dark Unless It's Daytime, struggled to break into the charts. But then in 1986 you had a surprise #7 hit with Boobs Are Great. Then 6 months later you were fired from the band. What happened?
Well, it was a difficult time, you know. I love the guys. I still love the guys, you know. If it wasn't for the guys, then the Potato Men would never have happened, you know. And I think that, you know, we just they just wanted to go a different direction from me, you know. I wanted to experiment with music, you know, experiment. But that they just wanted to play the same old thing over and over, all the rock stuff, not. But I wanted to bring in things like, you know, flutes and violins and, you know, maybe a penny whistle, stuff like that, you know, stuff that really makes music, I think.
And of course this led to a costly court battle over who retained the name the Potato Men. And you lost this battle, as well as losing the royalties to the song you wrote and your third wife to your lawyer.
Well, to be honest with you, I was heartbroken, really heartbroken. I mean, he was a great lawyer. I really miss him. As for the finances, well, they kind of took everything because they kicked me out. And if truth be told, then times were pretty hard. I was feeling kind of low, really low. In fact, I didn't even have a bed to lie on. I used to lie on the floor. That's how low I felt.
Then you vanished from show business for the next 38 years. And during that time you opened an English tea room for ladies called English Tea Room for Ladies. The business was extremely successful for a week and a half. Then you closed it down, and for nearly 4 decades you dedicated your life and work to your new solo album. How much did 38 years in the recording studio cost you?
Well, that's a very interesting question, Mr. Marx. You see, you know, it's, to be honest with you, we sneak into the studio at night when nobody's looking. So there's a dodgy window at the back, and we climb through it and we do some recording at night, right through until, you know, the lights go on in the morning and we've got it right, you know. But it's easy enough to just climb over the wall, get into the studio and record. But yeah, that's why it's taken us so long. Maybe we can get a couple of chords out in one session, you know.
You mentioned in a 1973 interview with Bridget from the Job Centre that you believe the Potato Men stole everything from you, destroyed your life, left you penniless and gave you chronic constipation. But you insist that you hold no grudges towards your ex-bandmates. Is this true?
You know, years later, a lot of water passed under the bridge and gone round the bridge as well, you know. Yeah, I hold no grudges because they were my brothers, you know what I mean? They were just, they were everything to me. You know, they were my reason for wanting to be a rock star, you know, and they were everything, and yeah, they did. They took everything. They did. They took everything from me. Yeah. No, it's fine. It's fine.
I asked that previous question as there are certain tracks from your solo album, for example, Die Potato Men Die, My Old Drummer Is a Pedo, and May the Potato Men Be Cursed by Having All Their Hair Fall Out, parts 1 and 2. Isn't there just some little bad feeling?
Well, see, that's what everybody's going to think, isn't it? But it's not. It's music. It's about expressionalisms. Right? You've got to be expressionalisms to be able to do things, you know. I mean, these songs, if you listen to, for instance, Die Potato Men Die, it's nothing to do with the guys. It's to do with inside my heart. I had to die as a potato man in order to move on. Do you see what I'm saying? And then obviously there was, you know, I don't want to get into, you know, my old drama as a pedo, because that is something that I've been told I'm not allowed to talk about. But yeah, you know, they're just songs. They're expressionalism. It's kind of like a kind of Pink Floyd and Queen and Rush. It's a kind of crush sort of thing, you know.
And you're off next month on a promotional tour to promote the new album, and you'll be playing libraries in Huddersfield with Trevor McAllister, the famous tribute act to the Shakin' Stevens tribute act. How does it feel being back on the road after all these years? Well, I tell you, it's just bloody marvellous. Can I say bloody on TV? Yeah, it is blooming marvellous. I've not been on tour for a while now. I bought a mic, my own mic. Never had my own mic before, and hopefully I'll get a lead for that. Of course, the tour may not go ahead should your appearance in court not go according to plan, and you lose custody of your seventh wife's sperms. Are you prepared for that eventuality? To be honest with you, what can I say? I'm a bad boy. I've always been a bad boy, you know. I stole sweets out of Woolworths. Yeah, I've done some bad things in my life, I've got to admit. But I'm clean now. You know, I'm really, really clean. I shower maybe twice a month. You know, it's good. You know, I feel better. I feel healthy. I'm eating healthy because the fish and chip shop that I get my dinner out of only uses the best chips. So, you know, I'm eating healthy and I'm feeling good. Well, Bobby, I wish you all the best with the new album, Who Put My Socks in the Oven? And of course, that with the tour as well of the libraries. I hope it goes ahead without a hitch. Bobby Troubadour, ladies and gentlemen. Now, a treat for those of you who like a nice bedtime story, as Sir Percival Homosexual reads Brenda's Funeral in Brenda's Funeral. Before Brenda died, she had been alive. Not one for looking after herself, Brenda smoked 5 packets of Cuban cigars, as well as 3 packets of cigarettes a day, drank 4 bottles of vodka, and only ate KFC morning, noon, and night. She had had this routine every day for the past 62 years, but at the age of 87, she decided to change her life and get healthy. She stopped smoking, quit drinking, bought healthy foods, and went jogging every morning at 5 a.m. Sadly, this only lasted 1 day, as through no fault of her own, she lifted the wrong spectacles from her bedside table, the swimming ones, not the jogging ones, and jogged out onto the road, only to be hit by a drunk lorry driver who was trying to light a cigarette whilst chomping down on a KFC. Luckily, 2 weeks prior, before her demise, Brenda had written out strict instructions on how she wanted to be laid to rest, and had given them in a letter to her best friend Veronica. Brenda had also deposited her last will and testament with a solicitor. It was almost like she knew she was going to be knocked down and killed by a drunk lorry driver smoking a cigarette whilst tucking into a KFC. Veronica, being a genuine, nice and reliable friend, had carried out Brenda's instructions to the letter, and on the morning of her funeral, it would be just as Brenda would have wanted.
The coffin was luminous green in colour, just in case there were roadworks holding up the traffic and she had to be buried at night. Inside the coffin was a torch and 3 Danielle Steele books on the off chance that Brenda had been buried alive and she got bored. There was also a flask of tea, as Brenda had always liked a cup of tea while she read. Brenda had not been very nice a person when she was alive, and she was now even more of a horrible woman now she was very much unalive. She hated most living things, and had even fallen out with the sandwich because it looked at her funny. There had been talk in the village that she once bought a monkey but ended up locking it in her cellar as the monkey refused to wear t-shirts, roller skates, and take exams to become a rabbi. Brenda had fought with many people in the village when she was alive, less so after she had died, and the children feared her thanks to her short temper and her long hair, which hung out of her left nostril. She had deliberately whittled her friends down to one, Veronica, and because she had very few friends and cared even less, the buffet after the funeral was 1 plate of pie, chips and beans, which was for Veronica to share with the vicar. Having little friends never bothered Brenda, as she was not that tall herself. The service, which was held in a large Gothic-style church next to the local McDonald's, was a prestigious, elegant building which had once seen the wedding of Mr. and Mrs. Trebor of 43 Monteith Avenue after a particularly fortunate win at the racetrack when Mrs. Trebor outran 4 women for the Ladies' Book Club. 3 people attended the funeral: Veronica, the vicar, and an old man who hadn't been told that the bingo was cancelled due to the funeral, but had decided to say, just in case, they decided to have a little game afterwards. The vicar said some very warm words, humoured, hot, cosy, and then it was Veronica's turn to speak of her friend. Veronica took to the podium and opened out a piece of paper with the words on it, words she had been working on for months. She cleared her throat nervously and looked around the cathedral. She had never publicly spoken to such a vast crowd before. Brenda was a woman. Veronica returned to her seat, wiping a tear from her eye. The vicar mumbled a prayer in the style of Oasis, and then it was time for Brenda's chosen song to be played as her coffin was carried out of the cathedral. Veronica broke down as the classic tune "Bring Your Daughter to the Slaughter" by Iron Maiden played. The following week, Veronica sat in the offices of Shafter, and Crook solicitors for the reading of Brenda's will. Brenda had been very secretive about her finances and always played poverty to anyone she suspected of wanting to borrow money from her. Veronica had never expected to be the executor of Brenda's will, but being her only friend, there was little option. For a brief thought, Veronica wondered if Brenda had left her a little keepsake to remember her by. The lawyer opened a cigarette packet and took out one of the cigarettes. Written on the cigarette was Brenda's last will and testament. The lawyer adjusted his spectacles and began to read. To my only friend, who was quite nice, Veronica, I leave my slippers. Veronica smiled, knowing that Brenda's slippers were not only her favourite ones, but in 1 year's time they would become antique. All Brenda's remaining money, £187,000, was to be buried with her, but shredded first, so if a coffin was ever raided by greedy grave robbers, they would be far from a long night with a long roll of sellotape. Veronica decided to take the slippers to a specialist and have them mounted on a pair of false legs, and although this would be very costly for the pensioner, Veronica thought it would be nice to sit them in the chair next to the fire and gaze at them from time to time. Veronica was most certainly Brenda's best and only friend, but someone who had considered Brenda her nemesis was Mavis, the head librarian at Brenda's local library. Mavis despised Brenda, as Brenda would repeatedly take out many books at the same time, yet always bring them back when they were overdue. Brenda never paid a fine for the late return of the books due to her religion, a Presbyterian tight ass. Brenda also had the nasty habit of folding the top corner of the page to keep her place, instead of using the sensible method of a bookmark. This only infuriated Mavis, and the two women would exchange looks of absolute disdain for each other. Mavis could only take so much and decided to plot her revenge against Brenda. And one morning at 5 a.m., Mavis dressed up as a truck driver, drank a bottle of whiskey, lit up a cigarette, and whilst munching on her KFC, ran Brenda over, killing her to absolute death. Revenge was sweet, but not the final twist to the tale, as the books Brenda had been buried with were library books, and they were due back very soon. And now, sadly, we've come to the final part of the show. It's time to delve into the world of those things that bug the hell out of us. And what better way to do that than with the Devil's Advocate? So, what's bugging me today? Well, I'll tell you. Liars. They are everywhere. Humans are supposed to be one of many species, but under the colour, the sex and the bull, we are all the same. We breathe the same air, feel the same sun, and bleed when we're cut, and we can't find the plasters because she's changed where everything was and put it somewhere I'll never look or find. And yet, here we are, brothers and sisters, lying to each other. We are the only species on this planet to lie to each other, and we do it without blinking an eye. Yes, my friends, thanks to human beings, there are liars. It begins when these lying humans, usually the male of the species, are born. The baby cries and screams, playing the mother like a finely tuned violin, and the mother, believing that the child is hungry, wants feeding. The first lie is set, and the baby gets what it really wants: boob. These liars are set out on a path to deceive, and they will become so proficient at lying that they will quite often begin to believe their own lies. Through the ages, liars have plotted against us honest, decent folks, and now, with the invention of selling sites, they are exploiting us to the fullest. Times are hard, and we look at these selling sites to get a bargain from time to time, but these once cheap selling sites have been monopolised by the liars, and the con is on. These liars parade themselves as genuine sellers in order to sell us something at a greatly discounted rate. But beware, they are hiding something sinister. Our undercover reporter for the Charlie Marx show has uncovered some shocking truths in their lies. They advertise things, but the secret codes they use are not what they seem. Tonight, the Devil's Advocate can exclusively reveal what the selling community have been hiding for years. Shabby chic, unfinished. One careful owner, stolen from an old woman. Shows a little wear and tear, stolen from an old woman who put up a bit of a struggle. Eclectic, I'm sitting beside a dictionary. Retro, was old-fashioned even when it was in fashion. Distressed look, has been held captive by terrorists. Now, just in case you believe that you are smarter than these evil sellers, they have come up with their own codes. For example, BNIB, brand new in box, or fell off the back of a truck. BNWT, brand new with tags, stolen from a shop. BNWT, brand new without tags, stolen from a shop, but the security guard got his hands on it before I got away. Needs a little TLC, tender love and care. A priest gave it the last rites. First to see will buy. I'm very persuasive and I own a gun. Untested, will probably blow up when you plug it in. Would suit a larger lady. A 6-man tent with awning. Only been worn once, when I was chased through the jungle by a lion. Selling because of upgrading. I found something better. Simple to operate. Stephen Fry sent his back. Very collectible. A pricey toy that your wife will not allow in the house. Perfect for your man cave. It's stupid, immature and ugly, and your wife will not allow it in the house. Sold as seen. Your guide dog thinks it's mint condition. Selling due to moving home. Buy it before the bailiffs get it. So there you have it, my friends. I hope this warning serves you well. But hear this, ladies and gentlemen. The last thing I want to do is crush anyone's belief in humanity, because this bugs me. Thank the good old pretend God that we still have such honesty left in the world, like our politicians, judicial system and non-biased news channels. Get in touch and let me know what's bugging you, and we can share it on The Devil's Advocate, only on The Charlie Marx Show. And remember to like, subscribe, hit the notification button before it becomes un-PC to hit buttons, and follow me. Also ring the bell for new content, and check out my website at www.charliemarx.co.uk. Thank you for watching The Charlie Marx Show, and we'll see you next time.